Hello, hello, hello. Almost Shabbat Shalom. Chilly and some sunny in the other places. Hope everybody is doing well. Uh, some intense times, some wonderful times. Not every intense is wonderful. Every time is wonderful. Sometimes they are intense. Sometimes they are not as intense. It's really how we're looking at it, right? So, how are we looking at that? How are we How are we looking at that? So, hello everyone. It's great to continue the Friday talks every Friday, just a little bit before Shabbat. And it's been quite a few weeks. We're now at the lunar eclipse. These days, actually, yesterday, today, and tomorrow, and this is the last one of the year, and it's just been a really intense time. If you noticed that you had any communication issues, any issues with almost Shabbat Shalom, hello, any any communication issues. Now everything boils down to relationships, right? Everything boils down to a relationship. It's not necessarily the other person that you are in front of, but it is also especially the relationship that you have with that person or that matter, or even trying to express yourself. Trying to express yourself can also be sometimes excruciating, but that is the relationship. That is the relationship to me expressing myself, relationship to what you want to express. How do I express? How do I go, if we're talking about between two people, how do I go about expressing what I want, especially if the other person, you and the other person are not really in concert, let's put it this way. And so today's portion really kind of every week talks about it. Talks about is the synchronicity between what happens in the portion of the Torah and what happens during the week or the times leading up to this week. So this lunar eclipse that we're having really created. There is an opportunity here. All the time there is an opportunity, and there are also challenges. Because if you're paying attention to any kind of communication issues that you were having these past 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, they all are the pre-lunar eclipse. May have a misunderstanding, maybe feeling misunderstood, feeling that the person that you're talking with, or a partner or business partner or life partner, suddenly what's going on? What's happening? If you've experienced that and it resonates with you, then and you're here, then there is a reason for that too. So the relationship, when I'm talking about the relationship, it's not only two people, you and your loved one, or you and your work, or you and your partner to work, but it is your relation to that relationship. That's also a relationship. Your relation to that relationship. So if you've come into a new relationship, somebody that enlightens many things in you, or things that you're not familiar with in other relationships, right? So what is your relation to this new shift? What is your relation to this new change? How are you relating to that relationship? It is not, many times we think about it, is not about the individual points. It's like the stars. It is not about the individual points or the individual stars, but the relational field, the field that is between everyone, the field that makes up this fabric, this creation, this painting of being together, being with other people. So Parashat Vayishlach, and he'll send, and he sent. It's interesting. In Hebrew, For example, the beginning of the portion of Parashat Vayishlach, it sounds like it is in present, but it is in future, which actually happened in the past. Okay? So it sounds like it's in the present, but it's in the future, which of course happened in the past. Vayishlach. Yishlach is will send. Va, the connecting word, the connecting letter, sorry, Vav is the connecting letter, is a present now. And so the way that it reads in Hebrew is like as if it is now, but it's in the future, but it happened already. Vayishlach Yaakov. So this is talking about how Jacob, after 20 years, that he ran away from his brother Esau after he got the birthright from Isaac, from his father, and that he bought it initially from Esau for a bowl of lentils. After 20 years, he's deciding, he sent angels to see, to kind of feel his brother, to kind of feel what is the situation, what's going on. Should I still stay in hiding? Do I go back? Now that Jacob worked for so many years for his wives, and now I go back. Do I stay here? Do I continue to be on the hide, on the run? And he's sending with his angels and sending with the people, with his messengers, sending gifts. He's sending gifts, and he's sending camels and flocks and all kind of goodies, iPhones, all kind of stuff like that. Right? So he sends it, and he tells his people, separate between each. Let's say there is a camel and some nuts and fruit on the camel's back. So between the camels, create a distance. So create a 6 feet separation, right? So they look like it's a lot. So when you see a line of camels coming, and there is space in between them, so it looks like, wow, that's a lot. That can be very impressive. That can be something that somebody who's looking to get a gift will be looking forward to. And so he's sending a gift. What Jacob is doing is kind of interesting, and this is a lesson on also how do we approach somebody that, let's say, our relationship wasn't all the time 100%, or maybe we have something going on with them now, or there is some kind of quarrel. He's first sending a gift. He's sending a gift, and he says, I'm going to send this gift to just ease. Then he's also, through his messengers, he's telling him to say to Esau, Adoni is referring to as if he is his master, right? As if Esau is his master. So, a master, I am your eternal slave. I want to send your servant. I'm sending you all these gifts. And the question is, why is he calling him master, Adoni? Why is he saying, I'm your servant, I'm your eternal servant? I mean, it's like... And the sages are talking about that this is... there are two things. There's also a part where where Jacob was reprimanded for that because he reduced himself. But there is a great lesson. There is a great lesson. I call it like the sandwich lesson. Right? You start when you're starting to ask for something, especially from somebody who you're not really in harmony with. Start with a gift. Start with a gift and with humility approach, a humble approach. So Jacob said, Master, I'm your slave. He softened that harsh edge for Esau. He softened that. He sees the gifts. He says, if you will, my master, I'm your eternal servant. please receive all these gifts. What Esau is responding, I'll touch about it later, because this is also another point that I wanted to mention. And the second thing that Jacob does, he prays. He prays, and this is really the essence, because the power of the words, right? The sound, the vibration, the quality of the voice, the quality of the frequencies. What place? What do you? It's interesting to try and find out, what did Jacob think at the moment that he was praying? Did he believe he's creating peace because his intentions were in the world? It's interesting, because I'm talking about this. I talked about it in the last. I'm talking about it all the time. It's what place do we inhabit within ourselves when we ask, when we pray, when we meditate, when we want to manifest something. What place within myself do I inhabit? If I don't believe what I'm asking for, it is like trying to drive a car that doesn't have gas in it, right? Something like that. So Jacob is praying. So this is the essence of his whole mission. It's his prayer. It's creating this reality that is different than what he knew for 20 years. The third thing that he's doing is preparing for war. Now, not all the time we have to prepare for war. We don't have to prepare for war all the time. But what he did is very interesting. First of all, he divided the camp to two. That in case Esau is not pleased, when Esau is running after him, because Esau is approaching, and he eliminates the camp, at least one camp fled and one camp stayed intact and can continue the lineage. But as the story goes, that's not what really happens. Esau comes and he says, no, I have much. That's okay. I don't need this, what you're giving me. But Jacob answers, I have everything. Esau said, I have much. Jacob says, I have everything. But there is a tremendous difference in this in this disposition, in this point of view. The one who is constantly all the time relying on him or herself to achieve, it is my might, I've done this, I've created this, I've been my might, my power, my money, I have the power, I have the da. The yoke of the world is on your shoulders. So he has much, because it's always competitive, it's always comparing, it's always, oh, he has more than I do, then I need to make more to have more, and then I can say I have much. Versus Jacob, who says, I have everything. Because if we look around where we are, every moment, every given moment in time, and we come back to our center, come back to the place that feels good, the place that has our heart expanded, the place where we are calm, where we're operating and where we are coming from, a place of understanding and not a place that is filled with emotional attachments. And that brings anger, that brings disappointment, that brings expectation, that brings jealousy, that brings, I don't have enough, that brings, oh, how much does he have or she has, and why do I don't have it? That brings, why looking at Facebook and saying, oh, why are they happy? Not understanding that what we see online is really a sliver of reality. Versus somebody who's just looking at what we have, or what you have. You're looking at what you have and you're saying, thank you. Thank you, God, for everything that I have. Because things, as we know, can flip from here to here in less than a time that takes to take a deep breath. And so when a person is in gratitude, and that goes back to this issue of gratitude, then I have everything. Now, when you are grateful, you can't be angry, can you? Authentically. I'm talking about being authentic. When you're angry, you cannot be truly grateful. And when you're not truly grateful because you're angry, your vibrational quality is already declining. The vibrational quality, meaning the frequency that your body is resonating on. What are you emitting to the world? What are you emitting to outside? Because what I'm emitting, I'm receiving. So if I'm not in gratitude, if I'm in anger, if I'm in disappointment, if I'm in expectation, I'm emitting this circle of energies. That is like when we take a rock in the water and we drop it, and there are these ripple effects, right? It's the same thing. Something triggered me, something triggered, and now there is this ripple effect of whatever that triggered if I'm not paying attention to it. Okay. So Jacob has everything, Esau has much. Right. And so in this kind of observation, when we're looking at what Jacob did versus where Esau is, we can see um, the advantages that Jacob has. And this is and now this is going back to the subject I start talking about. How are we communicating with another person, especially if we are not in a great relationship at this particular moment in time? So there is the dawn, the gift, the prayer, and the preparation. Right? I call it a sandwich because it is you're starting with a compliment. I will add even closing with a gift, because if the war didn't happen, right? If you were able to diffuse, you brought a gift, you said a word of kindness, you said a word of humility that brings to the leadership, because you know who you are. If somebody else is triggering you and to say that you're no good, and you get upset about that, there is truth to that. Otherwise, you wouldn't get upset. Think about if you would walk down the street and somebody you don't know just yells at you, just whatever words they yell at you, just because they feel like it or they can, or how do you respond, if at all? Right? I don't respond. I don't know, guys. Fine, okay, whatever. Hey, you can ask what's going on. If the guy is at his own thing, okay, move on. How many times do we see that? It's the same thing. If somebody says something and you got triggered and you remain in that trigger, now the trigger is like a knee-jerk reaction. The trigger can happen. Somebody can say something. We can take us right away to that place. But if your awareness is expanded, then you realize, I say, okay, I don't need to go there. And this is like the number one, one of the number ones. I guess there are many number ones to avoid is people that have negative energies, people that are taking you down, people that you keep seeing, let's say, on the street or at work, and they're constantly negative, negative, negative. Or, if you are a very positive person, and people in the office or when you where you go to work are telling you, you're too positive. I've heard that. You're too positive. You need to tune it down a little bit. You're too positive. How can one be too positive? How can is there in is there limits to positivity? There is no limit to positivity, because the ripple effect, the positivity creates a ripple effect of a higher vibration. The higher vibration we are in, the higher vibration our body is in, our state, our mind is in, when we feel it in our body. You feel it in your body. You feel that expansion, you feel that contraction as well. Great things happen. Great things happen. That is also when you can bring yourself to believe what you're asking for, to be in a place of belief of what you're asking for. And so bringing a gift, words of kindness, asking for what you want, talking to that person, ending with a gift. But always prepare, because it could be that the person is not ready to receive your apology or your realization or your understanding. A great example is with ex-partners. If you were connecting, if you met your ex and you are past that and you are hi, hello, words of kindness, but the other person is still in that anger, still in that misery, still in that place of disbelief or anger, of you did this or you did wrong by me or that kind of thing, you cannot help that. That means that X or that person is still stuck in that trigger time. That's part of a workshop that's or play shop, as I learned recently, which I like that. Instead of working, we're really doing everything with play. And when there is everything with play, there is also humor. And when there is humor, there is lightness. And when there is lightness, you can just fly. So, trigger time, true time. That's the concept of that I'm talking about the workshop. Is the time that we get triggered by somebody. Somebody said something, until the time we realize we got triggered, and that's the true time. So between the trigger time and the true time, there is this chunk of something. That chunk of something most likely is playing out, is acting out that trigger, is acting out that shadow, is acting out whatever that is that triggered you. That is what is happening between the moment you got triggered until the time you realize you got triggered. Now, when you realize you got triggered, there are options. You can understand, say, oh, I understand what happened. Let me retract. Let me understand why this happened. Let me understand how this cannot repeat itself. Or how can I bring myself to be more aware, consciously aware of what is going on. And the more you practice it, it suddenly becomes real time. So when you're walking down the street and somebody tells you something, or somebody says something that is inappropriate or whatever they say to you that is negative, you already realize, oh, I got that. Same thing in a relationship. Now, in a relationship, you know the person, you've been with the person for a long time, or you've been with the person for a certain chunk of time. So things kind of become, you see the person every day, and it's not like a person that you meet on the street, right? It's harder. It's harder. And so that is, and then when you realize that you got triggered, how are you going to amend or fix or repair that time that you were in the trigger mode? So when you are in a relationship and you see somebody every day, that is a wonderful tool to assimilate into your arsenal, to assimilate into your place. How do I respond? Rather, how do I react? What do I say first? The sandwich, right? And so with this portion, Vaishlach, there is kind of like, I mean, in one sense, I could say, I mean, Jacob prayed. Okay, he prayed to God. But it was kind of baffling because I think Jacob went a little bit into his own humanity, because God already promised to him that, and promised to Isaac that generations will come out of Jacob. So if Jacob knew that, why did he have to go through all this hoopla of preparing for war and the way that he talked? That's why he got reprimanded for saying to Esau, "You're my master." But there is a deeper Talmudic teaching about the spiritual level of Esau, although he didn't practice it in the physicality. Right? Because through the physical we practice spirituality. Also through the physical we receive spiritual messages. So there is a reason. There is a reason why Jacob did that. It's not really relevant to our point, but the point is, how do I approach? How do I approach someone that our relationship was not as great? And the first thing is I think the first thing to understand is you have everything. You have everything. We have everything. Look at this. Look at where we are now. We are now in kind of still in the midst of this Quranic era. Things are easing in one place, getting heightened in another place. communication issues in the last several days, week, 2 weeks, that have been hindering on relationships and communicating to one another, primarily because of this eclipse, the last of this year, and that bring a lot of things up, a lot of kind of when there is something that doesn't sit right, and it's like a jigsaw puzzle the pieces don't sit right. It's kind of like scratching the edges. It could have gotten worse. Some people it got worse. Some people didn't have it, but it's all across. What is above, so it is below. So this energetic time that caused this tension in communication has to resolve itself. And if we are able to cross that hurdle, to pass that wave, or to go under the wave, to go through the wave, to see the wave, to recognize the place that we've been in, to recognize this discord that we slightly been in, then we can take this and make it really a springboard to the new era, a springboard to the new time, a springboard to this place of expanded consciousness, of a place of everybody is looking at somebody else, looking at as the entire world. Each person in Kabbalah is talked about that each person is to see themselves as the entire world, as the world was created for them. And it is true, because there's no one else like you, like me. There's no one else. There's only one of each one of us. Think about it. There's only one of each one of us. I read this. I read a story. I think I read it or I saw it. I read a story about there were two stamps, two very I forgot which stamps they were, but two very rare stamps, and each one cost tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands. The one that owned one of the stamps bought the other stamp. For I think close to $1 million, and he destroyed it. Now, he destroyed it because now he has only one stamp. There is no any other stamp in the world. So that stamp went from its own original price of close to $1 million to quadruple the price. And that is the thing. Just think about this. There's only one of you. There's only one of me. There's only one of us. As the joke goes, we can say there's only one of you. Thank God. But thank God, literally and sarcastically and literally, right? There's only one. The unique. There is no anyone other with all your gifts and all your abilities and all your insights and all your wonderful things and what you have to show to the world. There's only one. The value of that is invaluable. So when there is somebody that were, especially after these 2 weeks, where there was some tension in the communication, gift, humility, prepare for the fact that it may not go well. So just prepare yourself mentally that the other person may not receive it. But in your prayer, in your meditation, when you are about to approach the person, believe that place of peace, believe that place of truth, believe that place of shalom. It's when you ask and when you really believe in that harmony, the harmony will find you, and it'll find your exact place in the musical staff. And then the symphony. So, next week is Hanukkah. Ooh, festivities of lights. We are here to kick away darkness. Darkness is on its way out. We'll talk about this in Hanukkah. So have a wonderful Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you very much. And I'll see you soon. I have to put the glasses on to hit the end button. Well, that's really...